Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. Good morning.
And how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Having lots of techie issues this week. Zoom.
Yes, I thought you might be, actually.
Before we get into the niceties, have you heard of any of your clients complaining they can't get into Skype?
No.
Well,
but I've stopped using Skype. I use the phone messenger thing on Messenger now.
Yeah, that's patchy for me. But Skype, it's. I only use it for a few people, but they tend to contact me on it rather than me contacting them on it. But I simply cannot sign in. And I spoke to a client yesterday, and she said she's having exactly the same problem since the last update. It keeps telling us our passwords don't work.
Do you know what I was thinking while I was waiting for you?
Go on.
That actually on my new computer, I have to keep... my old computer, when you went to sites you used all the time, it just knew you and let you in. And although I've gone through that process with all the sites I use regularly, this one, it keeps inviting me to reconfirm myself every time, which is sort of the same thing.
Oh, it's infuriating. And I spent half a day on it, and my client confirmed she spent half a day on it as well, trying to set up a new password, trying to confirm your old password, trying to retrieve your old password.
Yeah, I think it's time to stop with the Skype. You could use Zoom for them or anything, really.
But it's the way that some old dinosaurs like to contact me.
I agree. And I think I'm a Skype dinosaur, and I think the time has come in 2015 to stop being a Skype dinosaur.
Yeah, I think their business model must be failing rapidly. Mind you, it's owned by Microsoft, so you think they'd have enough cash to put behind it, wouldn't you?
Well, the funny thing is that VoIP, whichever platform we use, Skype, Facebook Messenger, Zoom, whatever it is, what we're doing now, it all relies on the same thing. So the thing we do it through is irrelevant. So this conversation relies on the Wi-Fi connection between you and me, our connectivity, whatever the word is.
Also, it relies on being able to log in.
So when people say Skype doesn't work very well for me, or the Facebook Messenger, that's rubbish, because it's the same thing whichever window we go through.
Well, would you do me a massive favour, just for my own peace of mind? When we finish this call, would you go and try and log into your Skype?
Yes, I will. I did try. In fact, I think I did try yesterday in case yesterday's client wanted. I haven't had problems with Skype, but I'm absolutely prepared to do that with you later. Yes.
I just want to know if you're one of the ones who can get in, or whether you're one that wants.
I believe I am, but I do have a confusion on my new computer where it offers me something called Skype for Business, which I don't understand and don't seem to be able to use and can't log into that.
Yeah, and that's the worst. The other thing is it's got 10 quid of my money because I've got a Skype phone number, which is on all my websites and all my documentation.
Oh, I see. Yes, I have that as well. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll play that game with you afterwards, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. In the meantime, what's your week been like?
I've got quite a lot of things to tell you in this section. Not really necessarily about my week, unless you'd like to go first, would you?
Well, mine's very short. It's been raining again. So, I'll tell you something, I'm going away next February.
Should we do that song? Should we do that? It's raining again. Supertramp, my brother's favourite band in 1960-something. Yeah.
Supertramp and Fleetwood Mac, love them both. It's sunny today, but I really do think next year I might go to America for a month, because there's the Internet Marketers Cruise at the end of Jan, beginning of Feb. Now they're all going off to Traffic and Conversions, which is in the gorgeous San Diego. And I could definitely find a couple of people to stay with in between. So last year it was so cold, and this year it's so wet. But I know that the vegetation will be all the more lush for it. So it's largely been a week of trying to amuse myself while not being able to go outside much. And I've been doing a lot of podcast editing, and I've been learning something new. And I've forgotten the joy of learning something new from scratch that you absolutely have no idea what to do, how to do it at the beginning. And then by the time you've spent a few days deep diving on the learning and things, you feel a lot more competent. It's a sense of achievement that never fails to amaze.
And do you want to tell us what it is or not?
Well, yeah, I don't mind. It's basically learning how to trade the stock markets, and that sort of thing. Do day trading, I think they call it. Okay. And I got interested because one of my clients is incredibly successful. One of my new clients is an incredibly successful day trader.
Yes.
And basically, you start with a little pot of money and you buy things and try and read the signs. It's a bit like divining runes, as far as I can tell. But I thought, I've got a little pot of money. It's sitting there not doing anything, so I might as well see if I can grow it. And because things are so volatile at the moment, it's a good time to try and do it, because if you can buy in at a low and sell at a high, then you can make your pot grow. But my God, it's harder than it looks, that's for sure.
Now, you know who used to love a bit of this and was very good at reading the manual and putting it into practice and having a go?
Go on.
Steve.
Well, he put on a good front of reading the manual.
Oh, no, he and I had quite a few goes around this together on various, and I've seen his spreadsheets and I've seen his... Not bad. He was very drawn to it, anyway, is the point.
He was. It's mechanics are very drawn.
Yeah. It is mechanics.
The problem with Steve was he was a Lord accumulator and mechanic with a healthy dose of gambler. So he would walk into a customer and put everything on the way in.
Yeah,
and he just had that wild streak in him that made him temperamentally totally unsuitable.
That's absolutely right, actually, and me too, really. Yeah, I'm a gambler. I'm a gambler.
Yeah,
but not addicted to gambling. Funnily enough, we've in the last couple of years done the. What was it called? The thing that we did with the horses?
Oh, the profit accumulator.
Profit accumulator. And that led, we did, but there was no gambling in that, if you remember, because we were laying things off. But what it did offer people the chance to do was to do the slots, which I could never understand. I had several people teach me, show me how this works. I don't understand how this works. But it it brought out the addict in several people who in the end had to come off it and say, I've confessed. It makes me into a terrible addict and I can't stop it and I've got to get out of the whole thing. Very interesting. I'm fascinated by the topic of addiction, and I will need to do more research and more writing about addiction eventually, I think.
I've read some amazing stuff because in my family are addicts of various kinds and going back through the ages, and I've read a lot of reading on it. So so I'm happy to have a chat because I have come across lots of interesting things about what causes addiction. Anyway, so that's my week. So what about you?
Well, on Sunday, I've got this disease, which is I always want to get ahead. So I look ahead in my diary and I think, what could I do today that I've scheduled for tomorrow that would free up some space tomorrow? And what it means is you're freeing up space that never happens. And on Sunday, I felt strangely inspired to do all of my Monday work. So I sort of vaguely swapped my Sunday with my Monday so I could spend most of it reading, which is what I should have done on Sunday, which is bonkers if you think about it. But one of the books that I read was the one that we were invited to read, you and I, for that proposition that we had. It was only £2.12, and I had one of those £1 off vouchers that Amazon give you if you buy certain things. And I always think £1 off, how dull. But actually when it reduces the cost of something from £2.12 to £1.12, it's 50% off. Anyway, I read it. It was a very short book, 70 pages, nothing we don't know or couldn't have written ourselves. A sort of combination of your thinking and mine, but no harm to hear that message again. But after consultation with you in email, I let that lady down saying, no, it wasn't for us. Not least because I noticed that you are audio booming the Money Gym book again, and therefore it's an indirect, why would we be better off promoting that rather than promoting hers?
We'll talk about that later, so let's
okay. All right. So, then two more things. One thing of two halves. I noticed when updating the testimonials on my website to my current clients that how many of my clients, just like you and me, have websites which are eponymous. Do you know what eponymous means?
Yes, it means self-named.
Self-named, it does. And I wondered if I should make that my ideal client. It was a brief and fleeting thought, and here's where it led me. In Club 100, which is my intermediate group, not my starters, more than 70% of clients fall into that category where the business is built around themselves, their name, their talents, their personal qualities. And it occurs to me, as you said, that they're stars and more likely to invest in themselves. Their natural inclination, or they might never put it into words, is I want more of Julie's time just to myself. And so they quite often don't put their weekly reports in the group. They send it to me privately because they're special, which is absolutely fine by me because they're paying twice as much. And when you pay premium, you get special.
Absolutely.
But as we know, it's not a business. It's not something you can sell in your own name. Now, there are exceptions. Jo Malone, for instance, built a business and sold it to Unilever. But the terms of her sale, how galling, she couldn't trade her own name contractually for quite a number of years after that. Isn't it? Well, isn't it? Yeah. But conversely, in my other group, the beginners, the stats flip. And 66% of people in there are creating businesses which do not rely upon or use their own name, although still the businesses would struggle without the principle. But it wouldn't be impossible in all but 3 examples. I thought that was counterintuitive that the starters were building businesses and the intermediates are stars. And I would have expected the 2 groups to be the other way around, i.e. you start out trading your own name, then you realise it isn't a business and you grow into a business owner. Anyway, it was very strange. I wonder what it all means. I don't think it really means anything except that stars invest in themselves and call their websites after their own name. And what I like about that for you and me and people who create stuff is pretty much the only constant we have in our lives. It's pretty much the thing that never changes, isn't it?
What, a name?
Yes.
Says the woman who went from Nicola Mackenzie to Nicola Cairncross at age 7.
Well, but that was so long ago. It was before you became a creator, wasn't it? So even now, if you let's say, who's the most famous person we can think of? What's the surname of the man that invented Zuckerberg? Let's say you became Mrs. Zuckerberg. You wouldn't change you might in that example.
Well,
you wouldn't change your name. You wouldn't change your business name when you built up so much cred in your own surname, would you?
No. I did change briefly to Nicholas Oromik, and it lasted about 3 months because I couldn't cope with having to spell a different name on my own.
Oh,
very
I know.
scary, isn't it?
A close friend of mine this week has become a grandmother again, and she's only in her 50s, not for the first time, for the third time. And when I heard what they were going to call the baby, one of them, I said, he'll have to spell that over the phone every day for the rest of his life. I mean, how awful is that?
Yeah, it's annoying. So coming back to your people, could it be that the people who are just starting out are nervous of putting their head above the parapet, so they call their business something that doesn't identify with them in case it fails?
No, I don't think it is, and I'll tell you why, because they have completely different sorts of businesses. So, for instance, one of them owns a B&B. You wouldn't call it a B&B, Liz's B&B. Well, you might, but, it's named for the area or the name of the house where it operates, and another guy has got a professional association. You wouldn't call that after yourself. It's called, the Professional Association of So-and-sos.
Yeah.
I think it depends, and it's odd, interesting, actually.
Yeah, it is. You ought to ask them.
Which?
Well, both.
I don't think I need to, in a way, because I know them well enough to know that it's self-explanatory.
Okay.
And, sometimes there's a lot of fussing about business names. And I say, why don't we just call it your name? Because that's not going to change. And then if you want to have a strap line or call it something else later on or morph that into something else, I think it depends on the person. There's starry me, special me people in the middle one. And they're different types. And they're equal. They're of equal value, but different.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's one of those conversations I really can't. I can't. When I'd say just make a decision. Well,
no, I quite like it actually, but I'm thinking it's giving me a clue. Eponymous business owners might be a sort of niche for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it might be something to know where to funnel them in terms of your, which option's best for them. But I suppose people make their own minds up, don't they?
They do, and they make that on budget as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So what's fueled your fire this week then?
Oh, well, I think you're going to be surprised, actually. I've been revisiting the whole Patreon thing thanks to Esther and the conversation that we had last week. And I'm going to give you 3 disclaimers before I tell you. So despite Patreon being ahead of the curve, which is quite normal for us, i.e. most people don't know what it is yet, and therefore it could take ages to catch on. And despite myself not having a huge following, which is another thing you need to be an instant success on Patreon, and despite people like your man Sam Harris, he moved off it because Patreon take down people they politically disagree with. Ooh. And that's editorial decisions that people like Sam Harris don't like because it's against free speech. Yeah. So just with those 3 disclaimers, given that I'm not going to be doing anything that might be taken down, I'm not going to take up a sort of anti-guns in America stance, I think I might give it a go because it's a place where a creator of content, audio and written, can be patronized by people who want to keep listening and reading. might include our podcast as well, actually. So I read another very short book, 40 pages this time. There's only 2 books on Amazon about how to make the best out of Patreon, and it's almost common sense. Yeah. So I bought one. The second one didn't make such good reviews, but it makes you decide whether you're going to be a writer or a podcaster. I'd quite like to be both. I don't want to be in a group of writers or a group of podcasters. I'm a writer-podcaster.
Yes. Can't you have 2 profiles?
Well, then you've got to work twice as hard because it's another bloody website in effect, isn't it?
No, it is, yeah.
I need to look into that. I need to write to them an email saying, can I be a hybrid? And I need to decide what levels of reward I'm going to offer. And it basically says you want people at $1, $3 and $5 in the main. But basically it could mean I'm paid to create words which stimulate and inspire. And you'll remember that I first flagged in this in the middle of last year. I'd like to be paid to write my newsletter, which people read, but doesn't really do much for me these days in by way of marketing. So, it would still market, but obliquely, not overtly.
Okay. My Right Club ladies would love that. In fact, you brought up the patronage thing, and that we talk a lot about words, as you can imagine. You love words as well. The fact that being patronised is a derogatory term now, but having patronage in the olden days was a rather marvellous thing because it was a bit like mentoring with financial support, wasn't it?
I think there are 2 separate meanings of patronised. Actually, I'll probably do that later just for fun. But I think it also means father, doesn't it? So where we're patronised, it's where we feel generally that a bloke has put us down.
Well, yeah, and I thought that was mansplaining.
That's just another way that they can attempt to put us down. Yes, don't play into my anger about that, Nicola. But anyway, what's fueled my fire is revisiting the whole Patreon thing, and I'm going to have to talk to at least 3 of my clients who I've talked out of it and said, I'm thinking about it again.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to have to fess up. Anyway, tell me what's fueled your fire.
Well, it was interesting you say that because I got to the point where I thought Money Gym Audio, it's sitting around somewhere. I think I was mooching about in my S3 looking for something, and I saw the Money Gym Audio, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I went in and I had a look, and I suddenly realised they weren't audio at all. They were videos. Oh. I'd actually gone to the trouble of after recording the audio, of putting a video thing to it and turning it into videos. And I thought, you silly man, Nicola, why has this not been on YouTube all this time?
Yeah.
And I realised it was because I've been selling it as an upsell to people who opt in free for the Money Gym book. And I occasionally sell $30 worth. And so then I started downloading it. And I thought I can spin off the audio and turn it into a podcast because I noticed about, at least a year ago, that some people do podcasts of limited run, like what's it called? A season. And I thought, I remember thinking then I could do something with the Money Gym Audio. Anyway, so I got it down and I thought, okay, I'm going to do Audio Boom, and then that'll spin it off into all the different places that else it can go. So I tell you what also triggered me. I think I saw on the side of your website a list of all the places that you can get your book on audio. Would it have been your website? No, it might have been Gary V's. There you go, Judith, you're being lumped together. Gary V. But there was a great long list. I thought, oh my God, that's all free traffic. So I started downloading it, and then I started uploading it to YouTube, and then I spun off the audio and started putting it on Audio Boom. Bam! Audio Boom slapped me with a spam thing. Something about the name, the Money Gym, just triggers off these alerts.
Wow.
So I appealed it, and I said, this is my book. It sells on Amazon all day long. It's just the audio of my book. And they actually came back and said, no, that's fine. We've lifted the spam thing. Go ahead. So that was great. So next thing you know, I wake up and I log into my YouTube, and there's this massive red screen saying, you have just incurred your first strikeout. And apparently you only get 3 of these before your account's closed down. So this would be an absolute disaster for me, because that's where I put my V-zine, that's where I put, everything goes on there. So I've appealed that as well. But it seems to be, and I've appealed it on the grounds that there is so much stuff teaching people how to become rich, how to think better, how, think and grow rich. There's Mike Maloney's Secrets of Money. There's every single stock trader on the planet. There's people doing crypto, trainings. It's all financial, loads and loads and loads and loads of financial stuff on YouTube. And I thought, this is really not fair at all. So I didn't know. So I'm appealing it. And if they turn me down again, I don't know whether because apparently you only get 1 appeal. and you only get one appeal on each episode as well. So but I'd already started getting listens on it, so I'm hoping that they'll look into it a bit more. But it's so exciting, the fact that it's going on to Audio Boom and thereby straight onto iTunes. It didn't take any time at all. And it's obviously going to go on to public radio and Stitcher and Spotify and all those places. But I was just astonished still that there's so much resistance to. Do you remember I got Google slapped as well? I suddenly couldn't advertise on Google anymore, which was why it was one of the reasons why I didn't do paid advertising for years. Mm. Interesting why it triggers all these alerts, isn't it? Trying to teach people how to become more financially intelligent triggers a lot of alerts.
Well, it doesn't surprise me at all, actually. And I know you don't want this to go into a political direction, but everything that I read and study is about keeping us all down.
Oh, I'm with you now, Judith. I'm right there beside you. Honestly, what I've taught myself.
If you empower people about money, you enable them to rise up.
But so why is Mike Maloney, Hidden Secrets of Money, an excellent series, by the way, go and watch it on YouTube, why is that not counting as educating?
Well, you don't know what he's been through, do you? He might have been through all of these challenges that you have of slaps and strikeouts. And
Anyway, I was just interested. But it did fuel my fire because, as you found, your 7 or 8 books lurking in a folder somewhere. I've just keep finding all these assets.
No, what are we like?
Yeah, I know, it's just incredible. But now the other thing is, I'm encouraged to try and learn how to do Amazon skills. Where you create stuff that people can just say, Alexa, find me, blah de blah de blah. Because I think voice is the way forward. I love video, but voice means that you can do other things at the same time.
Well, the great secret that surprised me, having ignored Audio Boom for, I don't know, was it a year or two, was to go back in there and discover that 2,000 people had listened to 19 5-minute videos. And it's like, oh, that's weird, isn't it? I don't kid myself. People, I will never, ever. I mean, I probably will. In a couple of years' time to you, I'll probably say, guess what, Nicola? People are shouting into their Alexa, can I listen to Judith with my breakfast? I mean, it's just bizarre, really.
I know. And I actually listened to one of your things the other day and I loved it. It was really enjoyable to listen to your voice reading your own.
Well, it's a funny old thing, isn't it? I like my voice, oddly. I must say it's oddly, isn't it? Because quite a lot of people, we are all so neurotic. We find things about ourselves not to like quite easily. One of the things I like readily about myself is my voice. And I actually like reading aloud and making speeches and crafting speeches and moving people with my words. And I like reading my book into Audio Boom, and I'm going to read all the 52 Blogfestas. In fact, I'm going to read quite a lot of them into Audio Boom this afternoon. But hearing lovely Margaret from America saying, I just like being able to hear your voice whenever I like to hear it, is a very sweet thing. Now, she's a paying client, but if I had a Patreon page, people who like to hear my voice and people who want to read my newsletter, but there's nothing in it for me, might pay me $1 or $3 or $5 a month for the privilege of doing that. And if there were 1,000 of them, job done.
Exactly, yes. I think your newsletter alone is well worth $5.
Well, I think we're moving away. I think, as I said to you last week, the death knell is sounding. A lovely, lovely, lovely client who I think listens, ex-client actually, put in one of my groups this week. And she's a coach, and not a sort of coach, not a sort of fluffy life coach, but she's done phenomenally well in the last 5 years, or 7 years, in fact, in building a business as a coach. And you know what that takes, and I know what that takes. And I would have said to her on day one, oh, don't do that. It's the hardest job in the world. But she's done it. And she had a client booked in who changed her mind because she'd been offered a year's free mentoring with somebody else. And that took away her February anticipated cash flow. And she was in a slump about it for 48 hours, as I would have been as well. And we all went, oh, never mind. Something lovely will pop into that void instead, which I believe, but you don't want to hear it when you're in a slump, do you? But it just reminds you of the volatility of income around coaching. And the clients that are with me, I think, would probably pay, for quite a long time, the right ones, because they get something that they value. Yes, they do. However, persuading new people to come in 2018 is the hardest it's ever been. And I honestly think it's all related. I honestly think it's about the middle classes being squeezed. And therefore, I think the writing's on the wall that not only was this always a hard thing, it's now harder than it's ever been. And so I think it behoves us to look for new ways to make a living. And that client who lost her February income just reminded me again, oh yes, we've got to find another way to make a living. So if your coaching income is on top, for instance, of other things where you're not worried about your financial integrity, you're laughing. I do think podcasting could be I was talking to a client yesterday who's just started her own podcast this week, and she's going to do interviews and some by herself. And we saw it as with the interviews, if she chooses who she interviews right, although actually you did this with the Business Success Factory, and if she chooses who she interviews right, and offers them, some of them or all of them, but only some of them will take it up, an affiliate opportunity to market her product, that might be a route to a market for her thing as well. I do think podcasting isn't there yet. Here we go again, early adopters.
No. Yeah, and it's interesting what you just said about that, because I did 130,
50, yeah.
139, I think it was, but I'm repurposing the best ones into my existing podcast as Entrepreneurial Thought Leader of the Month, and it occurred to me that when the Money Gym episodes, the audios run out on that podcast, I could repurpose I interviewed all those celebrities about their mind, their marketing, and their money. I'm going to cut out the money bits and just put those in as ongoing episodes of the Money Gym, which would be interesting.
But actually, if we had enough patrons and this was our job, I would like it, because it's about being paid to be a content creator.
Yes, which we are creators. we
create content all day long. We're just not paid to do it. We've thought of it as marketing. It's just a little mental switch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Here at Own It, we personally believe that leaders are readers, but sometimes it's just not convenient to read and you'd rather listen instead. For listeners of Own It the podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. A couple of titles we've picked out for you particularly are Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg or Crush It, Why Now is the Time to Cash In on Your Passion by Gary Vaynerchuk. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/ownit. Again, that's audibletrial.com/ownit for your free audiobook. You can pick one of the ones I've chosen for you, or you can choose something else. Enjoy your listen. Very good. So, focus of the week then. Do you want to tell everyone what we've decided? I think we talked about what we decided last week, and just introduce what we're going to be doing today.
No, we just told everybody last week what we're going to do. We're going to do three things. We're going to do some guest interviews. We're going to do some guest interviews, a loose women thing, and a manifesto. And neither of us have written our manifesto yet. And the guest interviews are scheduled for 2 days in March and 1 in April. So we've got to do a loose women. We've got to do a loose women indefinitely until we've got those audios available or we've written a manifesto, I think.
Yes. Well, I think we should get to work with those manifestos because I feel the need for one. But
okay.
Have you got? I have got a focus of the week, and really interesting. It swings straight into what we've just been talking about.
Okay, good.
Because I got something from Facebook today in my feed. I can't remember where it was. No, it wasn't in my feed. It was in my messages, I think. And it said Facebook have now announced that they're limiting group reach. So I ought to go into all my groups and I ought to choose which ones I want to hear every post from, only post from my friends or post from my friends and highlights.
Yeah,
and
I did that for all of mine last night. Yeah.
Well, you know why they're doing this, don't you?
No.
They say it's to eliminate clutter in the timeline, but actually it's to give them more ad space space for ads. Basically, they're running out of space for ads, which is why ad costs are going up. But
when you say running out of space for ads, why don't they just make more space?
Well, because they want to keep the user experience enjoyable, and they feel that the amount of real estate they've given over to ads on the sides and thing is at optimum levels. So, in order to make more space in the timeline, they need, for sponsored posts, they need to get rid of a lot of the clutter. And that's exactly the word they used, was clutter, in order to minimize clutter. So what they're doing is, I looked at the groups I belong to and have been joined up to against my will, by the way, and we can have a little chat about that later as well. And I didn't recognize most of them. So rather than leave them all, which would have been a very painful experience indeed, I just literally went through and chose the ones I wanted to see all posts from, very few, and posts from friends and highlights from, about 20% of the rest. And the rest of them I've just left on, don't show me unless something's really, kicking off in one of them. And I was thinking about coming so swiftly on top of the announcement that they're going to be limiting the reach from business pages on people's timelines. I think it's really time that people start to get into grips with stopping complaining and using what people want. Now, you've already done this because you started moving to video content. Have you any feedback in your insights about how much more successful that is than notes or posts that are written?
Sorry, I don't understand what you just said. Video. Okay. Well, yes, but I would have to open up the program. I'll have to. That would take me half an hour to answer that question with some research. Right. So I will need to do that. I mean,
for listeners, rather than bemoaning and bewailing the fact that Facebook page reach has gone down and now Facebook group reach has gone down, because everyone's been building their groups for the last 6 months frantically trying to replace the page reach. You've got to get to grips with the fact that Facebook wants you to create video and they want you to pay for traffic. Now, with the Behavioural Online system, it only takes £5 a day, and I think you could even do £3 a day. I think that's the minimum now, to boost your video to your ideal prospects. But you're not even doing that. You're just creating video content, and I would wager, not being a betting woman or anything, that you're getting better reach with your videos that are uploaded to your page and your groups than you are with written content.
It's not universal. For instance, some of the Blogfest posts exceed video.
Really, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, it's because the originator is also sharing it.
Yes, that is very true.
But actually, I always say to everybody about Facebook, well, I'd like to preamble about Facebook, first of all, actually. Nobody likes anything in this world that, first of all, they get for free. So we all think, I don't actually, because I'm a businesswoman, but everybody thinks that we should get Facebook for free. Yeah. As if it's some divine human right. It's just madness. And I point out, you get your profile for free, but if you want to promote your business, you've got to pay to do it. And how bad is that, actually? It's very affordable and very targetable. So It's the same with bank charges. There was always this complete outrage through my entire adult life that we had to pay the bank for a service of cashing our checks and counting in the olden days, notes and coins and things. It's like, what? Somehow we hate banks. We hate Facebook for being a monolith, and we think we're entitled to both of those for free.
I know, it's hilarious, isn't it? It's a naive outlook on life.
Well, actually, no. What it is, it's a very enhanced version of a problem that I addressed in my book, and that happens to all. The hardest thing ever to do is to go from free to fee, isn't it? And when we opened up our business bank account, they gave us 18 months for free. And so after that, we didn't like it up us. And the same with Facebook. It's free for a profile. So then when you want to promote your business, you've got to pay. People don't, you might as well, with any model, start off charging from the beginning, because if you give them something for free and then want them to pay for it later, they don't want to.
Well, software, you're leading straight into my who or what's impressed, which is interesting. But software as a service is typical. They wrangle all the time, when they get their venture capital startup money, whether they should do freemium, which is free, and then you have to upgrade to get different features, or whether they should pay, from day one. And apparently, freemium leads people into thinking their product's more popular than it is, because most people will sign up for a free thing, but will they carry on using it is another matter.
Well, will they even use it? People sign up for free, don't actually even use it.
Yeah, totally. And because then they've got to invest the time in learning how to use it. Whereas if you pay even a tiny bit, $3 or $5 a month, it makes you want to learn how to use it properly to get your money's worth.
Well, you've got some skin in the deal. Yeah,
exactly.
It's psychology. Now let's go back to the limiting group reach thing, because I've got two things I'd like to say on this topic. It won't surprise you to learn that I police all of my groups all of the time. So I'm not in any I don't want to be in. So when they sent me that, I reviewed the settings and really didn't have very much to do. But the second part of this story is I don't really like other people's groups. I only really like my own.
There's 2 or 3 I like externally.
And it's about parties. I don't like going to other people's parties, but I'd love to have you all come to my house. I'm a better leader and cheerleader and jollier along in a group of my own making than I am a nice player in somebody else's. I don't really get other people's groups because it's all about their agenda, and that's not my agenda. But your point about being joined up to groups, as we both were this week, makes me very angry. But there isn't a way. Facebook doesn't offer a way where you can invite people to join your group, does it?
No, it doesn't. You can invite people to like your page, but not invite them to.
No, and they should. They're just missing a trick there.
Yeah. Well,
it's actually would be lovely to invite people to join your group.
Yes. So I can't wait for all the gnashing and wailing that's going to occur in some of the groups I'm in, internet marketing groups particularly.
Well, I would just ignore it, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, totally. But I can't help being wryly amused at the idea of people basing their entire business on something that may or may not stay free forever.
Well, I think that's the problem with Patreon as well, Nicola, is if I do go there and make a big sort of noise on there, what happens if something happens to that in the future that I don't like? It's a very difficult thing. I know, it's a very difficult thing to get right to this, because there are all these platforms that we want to use. So, for instance, with our podcast, we use iTunes, and we use Audio Boom, and we use Radio Public, whatever it's called, whatever it is, Stitcher, all of these things. But what happens if they all switch their business model? Well, Audio Boom did. It was free for years for me, and then suddenly it was $9.99 a month. So there are things that happen, aren't there, that changes everything. And yet, as we've both agreed, and I never thought I'd get you to agree to this, but, our own websites are waning in how useful they are in the world.
Well, they are, but with these new clients, one of them has a website I can access readily, and the other one has a website that the techie is guarding with a sword of Damocles. But and then I've had to make him another website just to achieve some thank you pages, because I and he are not willing to pay $67 a month or $97 a month, which is what lead pages cost, just for 2 thank you pages.
Yes.
So that's ridiculous, but. So that you still need a website for that, unless you use 22 Social, which you're using.
I've discovered a snag with 22 Social.
Oh.
As yet, it doesn't work for mobile.
What?
So it was less than 50% of the world. I mean, I'm sure they're going to bring it in, and I'm going to keep meaning to ask Melody when are they going to bring it in. But as yet, it only works for computers, not phones and thingies, tablets.
Well, that might be all right for your group, but I'm 85 to 90% mobile.
Well, it's not going to work for any of our groups going forward, is it?
Oh, my word. We're back to websites.
Yeah, well, we're not back to websites, no, but we're not back to websites because the job of bringing people to your website is getting harder and harder because of these other places that are more and more powerful, even if we complain about them.
Yeah, and in that big fat notice I got from YouTube, it said had a list of, it's a bit like Facebook, had a list of possible transgressions, one of which was you have links in your description designed to take people off the platform. I thought, hang on a minute, there's every single video that I ever look at has got a link to someone's website.
Yeah.
But they're obviously stamping, and I am actually particularly careful to include only one link to my website in all my descriptions, and I include at least 5 links to other YouTube videos, because it tells YouTube where to show my video and what to show next after my video, but it also makes them realise that there's more links, internal links than external links, which John Penberthy told me 2 years ago. Always make sure there's more internal links than external links. But now it looks like that's becoming one of their terms and conditions they don't like at all, is taking people off.
Well, interestingly, if they are too draconian, people will vote against them and move away.
But
do you know what I think? There's no right answer to this conundrum. And even if we came up with a right answer today, which is the 22nd of February, it would continue to change.
Yes, it would. And there's 2 other things I want to tell you about YouTube. One is that they've upped the view count and subscriber count for people to be able to monetize their videos. So people like Phoebe and I, who've got, she's got 40,000 views and I've got something like 80,000 views. And I've got something like 600 subscribers and she's got about 150 now. We're not big enough to monetize our channel. So they've just got rid of an entire swathe of income for people who are in the intermediate level of subscriber and view counts.
Yeah, so, that's what I was saying about Patreon. What makes that difficult for both of us, me on Patreon and you guys on YouTube, is that the little person can't compete. Well,
you can compete, but you don't get paid for it. You have to.
No, but that's not what I want. I want if I'm going to use these platforms, I want them to be monetizable.
Yeah. And was that it on YouTube? Finally, it's telling me I need to dust off my Justin Brooke YouTube ads tuition course, which I bought and have never. Well, I did start to look at, but it was too complicated, a bit like day trading, so I gave up on that. But the reason I'm prompted to dust it off again was because I was starting to watch one of my own videos the other day just to review it for before it went public, and Sarah Starr popped up. So she's obviously using YouTube advertising now, and it was very good. She had a red dress on, bright blonde hair, and she really jumped off the screen at me, especially as I knew her. And I thought, oh damn girl, good for you. You've learned how to use YouTube, because she was big on Facebook ads.
So summarise, Nicola, what is this focus about? What am I to tell people in the notes that we've discussed?
Well, it was a loose swimming kind of thing, and you haven't told me yours yet. But I
haven't got one. I didn't. We've only got room to do one. It's 12-12. We've only got room to do one of these each. Okay. Yeah, it's got to be yours or mine. We've got to pick one and discuss it. So what is this one?
It's about over-reliance on third parties for your traffic and income.
Well, we're going to speak afterwards. We're going to speak afterwards to do the Skype experiment, so you might have to help me with that.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll have a discussion.
It's getting the balance right, really, isn't it? Because they're valuable. Well, of course, typically, not that I'm a good girl at all, but I've never been in trouble with any of these platforms, but you have been in endless trouble with them. You are a naughty girl.
Their terms and conditions are so impenetrable. It's a bit like trying to read. I tried to read a document yesterday that talked about what personal data was, and that was completely impenetrable as well. So,
we decided to ignore that anyway, haven't we?
Temporarily, yes. But what's your word of the week then?
Interestingly, it's compliant or compliance, and I'm not going to explain why until I get to who or what's impressed.
We've got a serendipity going on today, because some of the things you've said have led on to my next topic, and vice versa. So yours is compliance, and mine is lessons repeating themselves, brackets. So it's lessons repeating in brackets. Because I did a deal for someone, a really good deal that I shouldn't have done. And it was someone who I've known for a very, very long time, and they are full of integrity and full of love and all that stuff. And it's come back to shaft me again. So I'm never, 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 never doing deals for people again. They pay up front or they don't get it, whatever it is. I'm fed up with it. And why do people think it's okay to do that?
Especially to people who are closer to you.
Well, it's infuriating. Anyway, moving on. So lessons, bracket, repeating.
Yep, got it.
Project updates then.
I'm up to 93 sales out of my first 100, but it's slowed down quite considerably. And I think that's because my focus has been on the Blogfest, which is an indirect sale, not a direct sale.
Yeah. We all know, like you say, what you focus on increases.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what's happened here then?
Although I had a very interesting experience overnight. I've got this little group that I haven't let you into, where I'm scheduling the 12 people who volunteered to be our interview.
I haven't let you into.
Well, because you'll just meddle. And one of them in there is somebody I've known for a very long time, and who's waved her hand and said, yes, she'd like to be be one of our guests. We're not doing interviews. And she also said last night, I've bought your book. Well, I've been marketing it to her for 2.5 months, and she bought it last night. So actually, I've got to market this bloody book forever.
Oh, look, this is another techie issue I've got. A sticky semicolon. It's just driving me bonkers. I've had it off and brushed it out many times. Look, can you see what's happening?
I can.
It's really infuriating.
Yes, that is infuriating.
And it happens on and off all the time. Sorry, you were saying?
I was just saying that, I'm as I said to a client yesterday, typically for a creator, I'm mildly bored in the middle of February about marketing my book. But actually, nobody buys anything unless you keep marketing it at them. So even somebody who's a loyal friend, came to my 50th birthday party, is going to be one of our guests, still took her the whole of December, the whole of January, and 22 days of February to buy my book.
Yes. That is very strange, isn't it?
So all that proves to me is, if somebody who sees all of my marketing all of the time took 31, 60, 70, 80 days, 2.5 months to buy a copy, not that everybody's going to buy a copy, or I expect them to buy a copy or something, but she will have seen hundreds of marketing messages before she actually bought one. So I can't get bored with marketing it. I've got to keep marketing it.
This is why people have marketing departments, isn't it? Who constantly have to come up with new ideas because...
Well, I did say I was going to market it for 3 years. It's only the 22nd of February, so I can stop being such a wimp about this and just crack on.
Oh my word! Yes, sometimes I get bored of I have to record my V-zine every week, and I'm not joking. It's the hardest job of the week because it isn't when I actually do it, but thinking about it and getting up to do it is just really, really difficult.
Why do you make a drama about that then?
I don't know. I think it's because I have to come up with a topic, which actually, when I actually sit down and think about it, I don't have trouble doing at all, and I have to get set up in a place where there's good light, but I know where those places are now in my house. And I have to make sure the camera's got battery. There seems to be a lot of little steps, and it only takes one of them to go wrong, and it throws me off completely. But Phoebe's got a nearly full-time job again now, so she has to schedule her time much more carefully. So I have to get the stuff to her, and I have to leave time, for the internet going off and, because it does when it rains, and then I have to leave time so she's got time to edit it and get it to Sarah. So it's enforcing a bit more discipline on me, but it hangs heavy over me until I do it every single week, and I don't know why that is a deal. It's really weird because turning up for this podcast is the only other non-negotiable time thing I've got. So, and I don't find turning up for this onerous, but so I don't understand why turning up for my own marketing initiative.
Yeah, it's a strange thing in a way because I actually look forward to writing my newsletter. But there are other, and I love pretty much all of my marketing, but there are other things, even in a week, even other things I like, where I think, like, oh, wouldn't it be great if that client rescheduled themselves and I didn't have to do it tonight? That kind of thing. And I absolutely love it when I get into it. It's just, we are psychologically, we're quite interesting. I was going to say complex, but interesting, we'll call it.
Yes. So project updates then. I'm just...
No. You've shown us, what's that graph? What are you telling me there?
I'm just showing you our podcast graph, which is steady as she goes, really.
It looks quite peaky to me.
Well, it's peaky every time there's an episode released.
Okay.
181... 123, 155, that's a nice one, 218 on January the 5th. So it's peaky, and then we have second peaks midweek. I don't know
what are those things up the top? 4,843 and 5,800.
Oh, that's in the last, hang on, let me see.
Yeah, November the 25th. Let's do a whole month. Let's do January or something. What's that? Last 30 days.
Last 30 days. So
how many is that? 1,600 downloads in a month. Well, that's not bad, is it?
No, I think it's very respectable.
And then when I worked it out over our lifetime thing, it was 391. So 1,600 in a month would be 400 a week, which is about right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's steady as she goes, really. And, either something miraculous will happen or it won't, and we'll just carry on going steady as you goes. But I think that's what you have to do in marketing.
But a few more Patreons would be nice, wouldn't they? They can do that at our website, can't they? How did Esther find out how to do that?
I don't know how Esther found out how to do it, but I've made it blooming obvious now, I can tell you. It's for less intrepid souls than Esther, who is now quite famous. Who or what's impressed?
Do you want to go first?
Well, it turns everything we've talked about today on its head.
Oh, God.
No, it doesn't really. I can't remember where I saw a link to it, but I got referred to something on YouTube called The Chart Guys. And The Chart Guys is an American guy who lives out in, must be Canada somewhere. And he's got goats and he lives on a lovely house, and he's financially free from day trading. And he's got a really nice voice. So that's why I started listening to it, because the voice is important. But I started watching his videos, and he puts out daily free videos about what the markets are doing, like what the gold market's doing, what the commodities market's doing, and what crypto markets are doing. And he also talks about, what's that top 500 thing in America? Fortune 500 or something?
Yes.
Yeah. So he does daily updates, and he shows you how to read a chart and he explains what he's doing. And it's completely free, these videos, and they're on YouTube. He often goes live on YouTube too, which is interesting. And I just started watching it just because I was interested, and I actually found myself picking up a few things. After you watch 2 or 3, you start to get the phrases. And so then I gradually went and visited his website, and there's some free videos on his website too, and he talks about the different signs to look out for. And then I noticed that he's got this bit of software, which is $30 a month. So I thought, oh, that'll be it. And it sends you alerts. And it doesn't just send you normal alerts. It sends you alerts that he's developed himself, sort of 3 or 4 proprietary alerts. And I thought, and it comes in on this thing called Telegram, which is a bit like WhatsApp, but doesn't eat up so much space on your phone. And so I thought, oh, well, I'll subscribe to that for a month. It was free for a month. That was it, freemium. And I thought, I'll just subscribe to that and see if I like getting alerts about what's happening in the marketplace. And then I thought, I'm really enjoying this. I'd quite like to join his membership. And his membership's closed now because he doesn't want too many people in at any one time, because he says, you know, if 100 new people come in, they will start asking the same silly questions, not silly questions, the same newbie questions. Then his other people would get disgruntled. So he's doing the whole velvet rope thing on his membership, which, you know, is probably completely genuine, and it does sound like a logical reason. But I was just thinking about the fact that, you know, I was referred to him by someone I trust. I started watching his free videos. The free content is awesome. I signed up for whatever I could buy on his website, and now I'm waiting for his higher ticket item. And I just thought, that is so interesting, because
well, you've worked your way through his entire funnel, as I did with Michael Neal. Yes, there are people in the world occasionally where we behave like the ideal client.
Yes, and I wonder if there's lots of alerts going off his end saying this person's ready to buy.
Yes, maybe, who knows?
Because even in Drip, you know, they have alert systems on hot clients. So that's really interesting. I just thought that was interesting because it turns all the thing we've just been saying about free content not working anymore on its head, doesn't it?
Yes, and I think I tell you why it is we can point to examples of it working, and they're exceptions, not the rule.
Yes, that's true. Because most people just hoover up on
and that's why they're visible. And I think that, you know, that thing about when we first started, the Holy Grail was a viral video. You can't make that happen. If it grabs the public's attention or imagination, it's luck. There's some luck involved in that. You can't, and it's the same with everything. It's the same with what I'm going to tell you about in this section. It's the same with television programs. It's the same with novels. It's the same with bringing out a new car, a new product in the supermarket, anything. You don't know whether the public are going to like it until you offer it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's certain elements of something that goes viral, but you can't. It's not a recipe for anything.
No, it's not a recipe. But of course, unless you offer it, they definitely can't like it and get enthusiastic about it. Yes, it's a risky old business, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So, what have you been impressed by this week?
Well, my word of the week was compliant and compliance, and I've been impressed by Frances McDormand, and we've had 3 out of the 4 of the film awards so far. We've had the BAFTAs, we've had the SAG Awards, and we've had the Golden Globes. We haven't had the Oscars yet. So this time of year is where I'm watching all of the films. And my favourite film, and funnily enough, the first one that I actually chose to watch out of the 24 is called 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And Frances McDormand, who last won an Oscar 20 years ago in Fargo, where she was a pregnant policewoman. I don't know if you can remember that one.
No.
I hadn't really, well, she's just absolutely breathtakingly stonking in this, as is everybody in it, and her supporting actor is winning the best supporting gongs, and so far, which is very rare in all 3 out of these shows, all the best actor, the best actress, the best supporting actor, the best supporting actress have all been the same people, it doesn't happen, but it's happening this year, so I'm hopeful that she'll win the Oscar. But when she came to London, I hadn't realised that she's married to one of the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen, who are filmmakers, very creative, wacky, left field filmmakers, and she came to the BAFTAs where everybody had been invited to wear a black frock to be solid. Well, she was wearing the weirdest frock you've ever seen. She's got batty hair, she's got no makeup, and she came up on stage, and everybody clearly loves working with her, and her work is just breathtaking. And the first thing she said was, yes, as the film director said, I've got a problem with compliance. And I thought, yeah, me too. Join the club. I totally love her for having no makeup and batty hair and a weird frock and being her own woman, and yet at the same time doing such great work. And she's clearly a woman who'd rather not work at, I've written crap here, and win an Oscar every 20 years or so than work on anything other than her own terms in the finest work there is to do. She'd rather be at home with her children. There she is. Look at that batty hair picture in the middle. I mean, she's as mad as a box of frogs, but she's got integrity up the yin-yang. And her acting is peerless. Frances McDormand, her acting is absolutely peerless. You've got bumps coming on your arms. I said when I wrote my blog post, I put 3 stars around it. If this doesn't win all of the awards, I shall be sitting up until 5 o'clock in the morning on the 1st or 4th of March, whatever it is, to make sure it does. And that guy there who's winning the best supporting with her, he so deserves it because he plays a racist in it, which is really hard watching. Yeah. And for people to be able to vote for such an unpopular character to win as best actor is just breathtaking. But she is she leads the way in integrity. And she's very politically right on. So she stood up there and said, okay, I've got a problem with compliance and I'm wearing a red dress when you asked me all to wear a black one. But I stand with my sisters. She said all the right stuff. She is just a top bird. I'm trying to watch a film called Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, which was in the list for the BAFTAs, but not in the American list. And it's got Annette Bening in it and the guy that came to fame, Jamie Bell, from the Billy Elliot movie.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Can't find a link to that one at all, but all of the rest of them are readily available. And some of them are even on Netflix. Mudbound is on Netflix. There's another one on Netflix too. Some of them are kosher. They're available because they've been around for quite a long time. But I just grit my teeth at this time of the year and find ways to watch them.
Yeah, well, I'm working my way through my 20 best sci-fi novels of last year at the moment, so I haven't got any time for any more lists. But this does look fun, I have to say.
Oh, it's quite a difficult topic, but she is a top bird. And she's got the point of this is she's got a problem with compliance. Yeah, me too.
Lovely.
Join the club. Rock on. Let us long live us non-compliant.
Yeah, I fully intend to be a very batty, eccentric old lady.
Well, I think you're well on the way. I don't know what you mean about waiting till you're old, Nicola. You've been batty forever. And actually, she's not particularly batty. She's just her own woman.
Yeah, absolutely. Headstrong.
Well, just she's her own woman, and maybe it's easier to be your own woman in Hollywood when your acting is top notch.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You don't feel the same pressure to be pretty, perhaps.
Well, clearly, I mean, she is actually beautiful when you watch her on screen, but people appreciate her eccentricities, I think. When you're at the top of your game, you can do what you like, can't you? And clearly what those women have been through in Hollywood, 98% of them, the statistic is now. Really, I'm in two minds now that I'm such a fan of films, and yet Hollywood is so broken. I'm going to struggle with my own integrity around this now.
Well, we'll watch that struggle with interest. Thank you very much. Marvellous episode.
Okay, see you next week. Yep.
Bye.
Bye, beloved. Are we going on to Skype?
Yeah, we can't, can we? Because I ain't got Skype. It's not working. You have to do...
you wanted me to... I'll see if I can log in. Yeah, okay.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitpodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.